Brothers and sisters, we're starting late. Had a late day. Just finished seeing a client. Nonetheless, we're ready. Nonetheless, we are ready. Ready, willing, and waiting. Brothers and sisters, I've got some good news. Great news. We're making ground. We're making a way. We are cutting through all the obstacles of the enemy. We're cutting through, and we are ready. We are ready to do God's will. Doors are definitely opening. Greetings, my brother. Peace. Peace be unto you, brother Demetrius. We're definitely opening. And I want to see if we can get my sister Joanna. Sister Joanna, Goddess, Nanu. I'm going to just say all that together in one breath. All of it together in one breath. Sister Joanna, Goddess, Nanu, to come before us to talk about what God is doing through her. And then we're going to get on the subject of what our speech is about today. It's about to get hot and heavy today as we pull the curtain back. The curtain has to be pulled back, brothers and sisters. Curtain has to be pulled back. Because if we don't live or learn, from our history, we are doomed to repeat it. So we've got to discuss everything that happens, every suspicious thing that happens in our community that involves our leadership. We have to discuss it. We've got to. Peace, Black Seminole brother. Glad to have you here. We're about to get down tonight and discuss it because we have to talk. It's time for the people to talk. We don't want to hear any more lying. We don't want to hear any more messages from these false prophets. We don't want to hear these messages anymore, especially not Louis Farrakhan. Brothers and sisters, as you know and who you know, has been such a danger to our community. He's been a danger to our community. He hasn't helped our community, but it's been a danger to our community, and these things must be discussed. We have to discuss it. We have to face these obstacles. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? These obstacles have to be faced, because if we don't face these obstacles, then we're going to be doomed to repeat it. And that you can believe. If we don't face it, we're going to be doomed to repeat it. And I don't want God punishing me nor you because we were not bold enough, right? And earnest enough to turn around and see the trouble that the devil is causing us and the trouble that the devil has us in and who the devil is using. Isn't that right? You have to understand that we are in trouble and the devil is using somebody to keep up this trouble, to keep us running amok. And the devil is standing right in front of us, puppeting these black coons, black sellouts, black necks, chocolate-covered crackers, turncoats, isn't that right? Vultures and beasts sent out by the white man to mislead you and I. Al Sharpton, count him in. Louis Farrakhan, count him in. What's the lawyer's name? Ben Crump, count him in. Every black person they have in front of you parading, you need to count them in. The Breakfast Club, count them all in. Count them in. Malik Zulu Shabazz, count them in. Crystal Muhammad, count them in. Babu Omawali of the Hewitt P. Newton Gun Club, count them in. You already know about NFAC. I mean, with a name like that, you know that they coon. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? Right? Grandmaster Jay, what is his name? Grandmaster Jay, we know that he's cooning. right? And they say that they've arrested him, and we ain't heard nothing else about it. And you have to get these things are suspect. These things are suspect. So we're going to have a hot and heavy show. We're going to be talking about some truth. We're going to talk about some real truth. And truth is something we have to talk about every day. We got to talk about it every day. If you and I don't talk about it, brothers and sisters, shame on us. Because we have to point out we're doing what's called now a spiritual and a social reconnaissance. A spiritual and social reconnaissance so we can see what demons are out there. Isn't that right? Working for that white man so that we'll know who to stay away from. We got to know it. And you and I have to know that things are not going to make any better until you and I make them better. I can't do anything without you, and you can't do anything without me. It takes us collectively as a whole to tackle this beast. And I'm sure just like we're gathering together, there are many others that are gathering together to discuss these troubles that we're dealing with today. And you must admit that we're in some real trouble today. We're in some real difficult stuff today. Not because we have to, but we got too many sellouts and too many coons. And they're even willing to kill. Which brings me to my subject today. Bring me to my subject, brothers and sisters. It's going to be a hot, heavy day for the next 5 to 6 days because we're going to be discussing the death of Minister Malcolm X, the death of Sister Betty Shabazz, the death of young Malcolm Shabazz. We're going to be discussing the release of the killers of Minister Malcolm X and how Minister Louis Farrakhan praised these killers. So we got some stuff to discuss today, and that's why I say it's going to get hot and heavy. Hot and heavy as we face these things today. It's going to get hot and heavy. And that is, I love the way God put it when he said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Why does he say that? That my yoke is easy and my burden is light. There's a reason why. There's a reason why he says this. He says it because the truth, to speak the truth, unleashes strength and power. Isn't that right? It releases and unleashes strength and power. Don't forget the thumbs up, brothers and sisters. Don't forget the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Please hit the bell. Make sure you hit the notification bell because we're going to be busy. And certainly, put a comment in the section. You agree or disagree, put it in there anyway. I'm going to keep all things. I don't take out anything. I'll debate you out of love and concern if you're black. But I want your comments because I don't remove anything. And I won't remove it because I want to see you, brothers and sisters. I want to see you. Right? Some brothers and sisters that come that may disagree, probably sincerely disagree and want to learn. And I want them to know that we're here as a teaching channel. You and I are here as a teaching channel. So they have to know it. So I'm very happy. I'm very excited that you and I are here today and that we're standing up, brothers and sisters, for this truth. Because there's some funny moves being made, some suspicious stuff going on. Wouldn't you agree that there's some funny moves being made and there's some suspicious stuff going on? That's right. Some funny moves. And so you wonder why. You say, well, he's picking on Minister Farrakhan all the time. Brothers and sisters, I'm not picking on Minister Farrakhan. I'm not picking on him. It's just that I see, right? But you too afraid to talk about, I see it. And we know the suspicious death of Malcolm X's daughter, Malikah. is tied to Farrakhan because the killers of Minister Malcolm, who Farrakhan praised when they're released from jail, these killers, when they're released, suddenly our sister come up dead. Our beautiful sister come up dead. And that's something that we have to talk about. We got to discuss this. This is suspicious. This is suspicious. We got to talk about it. But brothers and sisters, before I get into all of that, because it's about to get hot and heavy and juicy in here. Before I talk about all of that, I want to bring forth our sister Joanna, ex-goddess Nanu. I say the whole thing. Sister Joanna, ex-goddess Nanu. I want to bring her forward to us. She's going to tell us what God has given her and tell us about the program and all of that. So we're gonna be ready to hear some amazing truth, and we're gonna be ready to take this word that she's given us and build ourselves up right into power and righteousness of where He wants us, what God wants us to be, But this suspicious stuff happening to us have to be discussed. And understand this: when one brother or sister is killed, when one of us dies, all of us have to investigate. We have to investigate. And at that point, nobody is beyond reproach, because God is moving and God needs soldiers to move with Him, right? God needs hands. He needs eyes. He needs ears. He needs nose. He needs a mouth. He needs a vessel to work through, or a body to manifest His powers through. Isn't that what's so important about Jesus? And Jesus said, if I have not done these things, can ye not do greater things? Isn't that right? If I do these things, shall ye not do greater things, brothers and sisters? So I'm ready. But before that, we want our sister to come with us and give us some power. It's going to be gasoline in our spiritual vehicles and our spiritual bodies to make us soar like eagles in the heavens of the Almighty God. So brothers and sisters, if you please, welcome our sister. We work together as a team. And yes, I bring her on here. I bring her on here unselfishly, because I want you to go to her channel and see what she's dealing with as well, so that you'll be able to see this truth. So you'll be able to see this gospel that she has. And once you hear this gospel, you will know that our sister is sent to you from God, because our children need what she has to offer. Our young adults needs what she has to offer. Isn't that right? We have to be strong as a family unit first. We need to learn to use and support our own people. And we need to let women that are with child, let them know that there's a doula that have natural experience, that also has specialized in natural medicine, right? With bag up behind her, that understand medical knowledge, that can release and help assist to deliver children in a safe environment. Brothers and sisters, they're killing us in the hospital. Now, we made a landmark decision in Arkansas. There's a landmark decision in D.C. where now, in many states, the federal government has left it up to those states to come against the abortion law. And I hope you've been watching that, brothers and sisters, because this is one of the most powerful legislation that have been passed. Understand, when this legislation was passed, it was passed because there are so many black babies dying. That's not why the white man did it. That's not why the devil did it. But it was God. God allowed the legislation to be passed. And God allowed that legislation to be passed for the salvation and protection of our people in the black community. Isn't that right? Our sisters look like foolish people going around and protesting against the anti-abortion law when our babies are the main children being killed in these laws or under these laws. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? Our job is to fight to keep the lives of our boys and girls, our young men and women, and also to help make sure that our young women, when they go in the hospital, that they are safe and can deliver babies safely. But as you know, we can't even trust the hospitals, brothers and sisters. And so we have to use this anti-abortion law. We have to use it in power to start delivering children in safe places. And brothers and sisters, our sister is ready. I'm not going to hold you any longer. Let her come before us. Thank you for your attention, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, if you please.
Greetings, peace, love, and light, enlightenment to everyone watching today. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you're all doing well. Greetings. I see Black Seminole in the house. Demetrius. All right. Hopefully we got some sisters out there watching. Hope the sisters are watching. All right. But if not, they can catch it later or whatnot. I have everything, something everybody can benefit from. Absolutely. Just to piggyback on what the brother was saying about the ruling that was overturned. Most definitely. I do try to understand. I try to understand the sisters. And it's one thing to empathize with mothers. But it's another thing. You got to empathize with the babies as well. These souls that are being murdered, they don't have anybody representing them. They can't speak up for themselves. And it definitely is murder. If you don't believe that it's murder, you need to research and learn what exactly occurs when an abortion takes place. You are definitely killing that child. The child is already there. The moment that egg is fertilized, the child is there. Okay. A baby is being formed and, you are killing that child. And so, there are repercussions, health repercussions, as well as psychological and emotional repercussions to that. Anytime you murder someone, because it's not natural, it's not something that the Creator ever intended for us to do. And so, there's repercussions whenever we do it. Even if you kill in self-defense, there are going to be repercussions to that you have to deal with and that you have to heal from. It's very traumatic because it's not natural to the human body to murder another human. It's not something that comes natural to us. And just wanted to say that, I know our sisters need some healing out there, definitely need some healing. And if we want to take the look that, well, this is my body, I should be able to do what I want with my body. Well, you are doing what you want with your body because you took your body and had sex with it. And that's what reproductive organs are for, to reproduce. So we should be learning as toddlers to use things for what they're meant for the purpose that they're meant for. We should be learning that in preschool and as toddlers. I'm not sure what you're teaching your children, but I do know what I'm teaching my children, to use things for what they're meant for. You understand? And your reproductive organs are meant to reproduce. So if you use them adequately, then you're healthy. That's what should happen. You end up with the child. And children are, their responsibility. And so whenever there's something called karma. Whenever you have any type of action, there's going to be an effect. There's going to be a cause and effect. There's going to be a reaction to whatever you do in life. There's always going to be consequences to your actions. Absolutely. And so 1 + 1 = 2. So we're not going to act like, we're shocked that a baby is not here. It should, I understand maybe you didn't want that to happen, but you have to understand that that's what can happen, and go ahead and plan that, before you even start engaging in sex, you should be teaching your young children, young men and women, if they engage in sex, that a child can be born. And to go ahead and prepare themselves if they're having sex. I don't care if they're having protected sex or not. They need to understand that a child still can be born and be prepared and have a plan in place if they're going to have sex. So that if a child is born, that they're ready for it. Okay, and they understand that there's things they're going to have to do if a child is born, if they're going to engage in sex. We got to stop thinking that we can just engage in unruly behaviors and think that nothing we do should have any consequences. Now, I understand, I'm not talking about somebody being raped or molested. That's a whole nother conversation that we can have at another time. Okay, whole nother conversation. And I say, yeah, we're going to have it another time because that's a whole separate issue than what we're talking about right now, because that's a crime has taken place, and so a whole lot of things have to be done. But I'm not going to get into that. And really, the problem that we have is that we as a society have gotten away from valuing and appreciating motherhood. Really, we don't have a lot of mothers out here today. It used to be back in the day, you would be able to be mothered anytime you went into, most of the time when you went into a Black woman's home, you were going to get mothered, and that was just a given. And today we live in a time where women, they have no idea what it means to even be a mother. And their mothers weren't mothers. Because they were too busy providing, out here fighting the man, without somebody standing by their side, or whatever the case may have been, or maybe they just wasn't a mother for whatever reason. So we don't have anybody out here teaching our women how to be mothers anymore. They don't have examples of motherhood anymore. We're just not living in that time right now. And, we really do need to get back to motherhood. We need to get back to motherhood and mothering. And very briefly, I'm just going to go through the aspects of mothering for you all so that you can understand what mothering is. And I'm going to also discuss what mothers need, okay? Well, we need something in return as well so that we can continue to mother. So the 4 aspects of mothering, the first one is creating sacred space. Okay, we as women, we have to know how to create sacred space. And your first lesson in that is when you become pregnant, is to create a safe space for that baby. Okay, that means that you need to be welcoming. Okay, that needs to be a welcoming environment. It needs to be a pure environment, clean. Okay, and also a beautiful environment. It needs to be enhanced, beautified. Okay, so that's creating a safe space for those who are coming into the space. And we have to mother, not only just, I'm not talking about just mothering children, because it goes beyond mothering children. We have to mother ourselves. We have to mother our husbands as spouses, and we have to mother our community. Okay, and this I really believe that this is a key part of what's going to rebuild our communities, is women really walking in their power, in our unique gifts, okay, which includes mothering. That's a unique gift that a woman has. Nobody can do that like a woman. I'm sorry. So we have to understand that, okay, and that's our role. That's our leadership role, to lead our communities through mothering our communities, and that's the natural order of creation, okay. Also, another aspect of mothering is nurturing, and that's pretty much feeding. There's different ways to feed. Food is not the only way to feed, but that those babies are going to need nutrition. Your community needs nutrition, and there's different ways. That's our gift, to understand how to nurture, okay, and that means to feed people with nutrients, and not even just physical nutrients, but words of affirmation, okay, and useful information, okay. We have to nurture them mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And that's the gift that a woman has, to be able to do that as a mother, okay. Another aspect of mothering is teaching, okay. And when we're teaching, we're preparing Whoever we're teaching, we're preparing them for the future. Yes, you start teaching when a child is in utero. Absolutely. You give instruction when a child is in utero. A lot of things can be accomplished simply by speaking to the baby. Um, Baby's turn and proper direction. All the kind of things occur when you speak to your child in utero. And yes, women need to give instruction because there's a wisdom that women have for the community, for building the community, for building the home environment, a safe and sacred space and nurturing environment for everyone. There's insight that women have that brothers will never be able to have because it's by nature, it's by design. We're meant to complement each other, okay? We're meant to complement each other. We can't survive without each other, okay? So we got to stop this, thinking that women don't have anything to teach, don't have anything to add, because that's erroneous. It's erroneous, and our women need to know that they have to give instruction as a part of being a teacher, as a mother, as a part of mothering, teaching and guiding, instilling wisdom and instruction, and preparing others for the future. And the fourth aspect of mothering is going to be laboring in love. That requires sacrifice. It requires, giving of yourself, literally, especially when you're with child. This baby is literally feeding off of you when you're nursing, when the baby's in utero, and you're healing that child too. And you may be having to heal genetic wounds, generational curses. All kind of things can go on when you're conscious as a mother and you're focused on actually mothering that child the minute that you know that you have conceived a child. Yeah, mothering takes place immediately. Okay. It takes place immediately. And keep in mind that we don't not only have to mother our children in utero as they grow up, as they become adults, but we need to mother ourselves, mother each other, mother our husbands, mother our communities. Absolutely. And I'm not talking about being your husband's mama. Okay. I'm talking about mothering. Okay. And I just broke down to you what mothering is. Yes. Your husband needs a safe space. You need to create a safe space for him in the home. You need to nurture him in the home. He needs to heal. You need to be his healer. You should be each other's healers. We should be teaching each other. Yes, you have something to teach your husband. Absolutely much to teach your husband. If you're a wise woman, if you're a woman standing in your power, okay, and working on yourself, okay, which we need to understand that it's required of us as women. We have to step up and stand into our power as women, okay? And brothers, you got to make sure you're not oppressing these women. You understand they got to rise up and stand in their power. If our communities are going to strive, you're going to have to put the Black woman on the throne. Do you hear me? She's going to have to be on the throne for real, leading. She's going to have to lead if we're going to heal our communities, if we're going to heal this planet, if we're going to heal our homes. She's going to have to lead. And of course, she needs to be in the right state of being, in the right state of mind. And I'm giving this information now. I'm going to start teaching a class on mothering so our women can be capable in our homes and leading our communities into a healthy state. Because we're not healthy as a whole, as a community right now, but we can be. You understand? And the white man's way is not the right way. Okay, so we gotta let go of this need to dominate over one another. That's the white man's way. We don't need to dominate over one another. That's unhealthy. And as mothers, we do need something from you, brothers. We do need you, brothers. We need something from our children. We need things from our community. Okay, we need protection. Okay, and I thank God that when my children grow up, they're going to protect me. Okay, they're going to reciprocate. This is how you guys reciprocate to us who are mothering, because we need you guys. We need your protection. We need protection from our community. Okay, we need you all to protect us. We need our children to protect us. We're going to need provision. Absolutely. Does that mean that a woman can't focus on her career? That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying, baby girl. What I'm saying is that we need provision. You can't mother and stress about making $1. Okay. It's impossible to do, especially when you have children. There's no way you can mother your children and focus on providing. You can't do both at the same time, okay? Because it requires you operating in a different mindset and a different energy, okay? So you can't do both at the same time. Now you can switch your hats out and try to do the best you can, which a lot of mamas do, but you're not operating at your greatest potential. So that's why I'm giving this information now and calling out on our brothers. Okay, now we got to be more compassionate towards one another, because as a community, we're all healing. We're all healing. So we got to be compassionate and merciful to one another. Stop attacking one another and beating each other up about what we're not doing and what we are doing that's wrong, okay? Because we got to heal as a community, okay? All of us have to heal, okay? We've all been under this boot on our neck. We've all been molested and raped and abused and oppressed and beaten down, okay? So we've got to love on one another, and it's going to take a lot of mothering. It is. It's going to take a lot of mothering. And brothers, y'all going to have to make space for the women to lead. You're going to have to make space, brother. Because a lot of you brothers don't even understand what a mother is. You haven't had a mother. So you can't tell a woman how to be a mother, okay? So you can't rule over her. You're going to have to move out of her way. You're going to have to move out of her way while she learns how to mother. And you're going to have to respect and honor her, okay? Just you're going to have to respect and honor her. We're going to need that from you guys. And that requires some obedience too. Whenever God gives her wisdom and instruction for you, for the home, for the children, you're going to have to listen. You're going to have to listen to that woman's instruction. Do you hear me? You're going to have to put aside your pride and humble yourself and listen to what God is saying through that woman. Do you understand? Do you understand? If we're going to have happy, healthy, whole homes and communities, this is what it's going to take. This is what we need from you all so we can continue mothering, okay? Because a woman can't mother if she has to constantly keep stopping and healing herself from the verbal and emotional beatdowns you're giving her because these crackers have beat you down, brother. Okay? You can't take it out on the sisters. Do you hear me? You can't take it out on the sisters and try to rule over the sister because you can't rule over what you're supposed to be ruling over. Because you're not supposed to be ruling over the sister. You understand? That's not your place of rulership. That's not your place of rulership, brother. When you come to the home, you should be coming to the home to rest and to heal. You rule out there. That's where you're supposed to be ruling, brother. You understand? So you can't take over the sister's place, okay? Can't take over the sister's place. You're gonna have to listen to the sisters and step back a little bit so that you can heal. Y'all can heal together. You understand? And y'all can take over out there together in unison, together as one. All right. And then most importantly, we need from you guys, we're going to need y'all love. We're going to need y'all to love us. The sisters need y'all to love on them, brother. Stop all this bashing black women and black mothers and single mothers, because if you keep bashing them, they're not going to step into mothering. Do you understand? They're going to keep fighting and needing to provide because they're going to fight back against you. And if they're fighting back against you, you can't step into your role that you need to be in. You understand? If you're not stepping into your role you need to be in, she's going to have to pick up and fulfill that role because she got these children to take care of. You understand? So we got to start loving and appreciating and adoring our mothers. You understand? We have to adore them. We need your adoration. We need your appreciation. We need your love. And I'm not talking about just because someone gave birth. That's not what I'm saying. No, absolutely not. I'm talking about motherhood. I'm talking about real mother and these things that I already told you about. You need to lift those things up, and you need to lift the black woman up in her power, in the gifts that God has given her. Absolutely. And I hope y'all understand me. I hope that what I'm saying is clear and you understand and nobody's confused, because y'all real quiet right now. All right. But I want to leave you with this, that mothers are meant to be our leaders when it comes back when it comes back to leading this nation, this black nation, and getting back into divine order with creation, with the ways of creation. Because the black woman is your first leader, brothers. Your first leader is the black woman. When you birth, when you come to life in her womb, that's your first leader and your first teacher. So you have to understand the divine gift that's been given to women, whether they've tapped into it or not. Okay? Let's be kind to one another. We're in this together. We're all healing together. Understand a lot of our women are not walking in that. I understand that. But we have to make space for them to be able to do that. You understand? We have to make space and have faith for it. As we build them up, as we teach them. And I'm gonna start teaching a class on mothering. Start teaching classes. I used to do a lot of intro to self-healing workshops and group healing workshops, and I'm going to add to that some mothering classes. All right, so I'm going to start teaching some mothering classes. You can be on the lookout for that on my website, goddessnanu.com. And sisters, I do encourage you all to go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube page, because I do put a lot of information out there. Goddess Nanu, just type in Goddess Nanu, I'll come up. I should come up. Or go to my website, goddessnanu.com. All right, and you can find me there, and I'll post the classes there. I have to, I do all the stuff myself. You know, we do all the stuff ourselves. So, bear with me. I have to, it takes time. Websites are not easy to design, and you got to organize the stuff and get the information up there, make sure everything looks right and all the buttons work and all this stuff. So, give me some time. And I'll have everything set up. My website's not up to date as it could be. So I'm going to be working on that really soon to get it where it's suitable for you all. Okay. All right. And that's all I have for you today. Definitely, those of you who, if you are pregnant, since we're going to be having a lot more babies and less abortions now, right? I do encourage you to birth your babies at home. If you're healthy, get my book on free birth so you can be competent in birthing your own babies and have your babies born into some black loving hands and in a safe, holy environment. Okay. And you can get that book, and you can also take the class, register for the class. Love to have you in the class. It starts next month. All right. Yeah, that's all I have for you. And also the virtual homeschool co-op for those of you that have children. Please join us. We'd love for you to join us. It's free. All you have to do is teach a class. And you can find that information at thebirthguru.org. I'll put that in the live chat. Those of you watching the recording, click on the live chat and you'll see it in there. It's thebirthguru.org. You can go there and enroll in the virtual homeschool co-op, or enroll in the free birth class, or purchase my book on free birth. All right. And I think I covered everything. Now it really is too hot to be shipping out chocolate, you guys. It really is too hard to be shipping out chocolate. But this is to raise money for the homeschool co-op. All right. And we're selling these chocolate bars. We're asking for a minimum donation of $5 per bar. Okay. And you can find that at thebirthguru.org as well, under the homeschool co-op page, the chocolate bars. And you see the labels here. I designed these myself. All right. I hope you all like them. I hope you find that suitable, and it just encourages so much Black pride in your heart. All right. And you can, if you want to donate to the homeschool co-op, you can click that button to buy some chocolate. You don't have to get the chocolate. If you don't want the chocolate, you can still donate if you want to the homeschool co-op, but you can click that PayPal button. And also a new addition to that PayPal button, if you want to donate something, or you want to purchase one of the minister's books and you don't want to use Cash App, you can actually use that same button at thebirthguru.org. And I'm sure he'll drop the link in here for you later as well. There's a link you can drop here. But you can go there if you want to send something through PayPal to purchase one of his books, or if you just want to donate towards his work or for him to continue videos or whatever. Just type up in the notes exactly what your donation is for. And there's a drop down there when you click that button, the PayPal button. There's a drop down there which you have your options to kind of express exactly what your donation is for. Okay, that way it's just all there with one button. All right, and so that's all I have for you today, and I hope that's not too confusing. Again, to get to the PayPal button, you go to the berkriver.org. It's there on the Homeschool Co-op page. You scroll down to the bottom where you can purchase a chocolate bar. You click that button to get your chocolate. All right. And that's all I have for you guys. So thank you for listening. We appreciate your support and your time and your engagement. Thank you so much for engaging with me, Black Seminole. I love your name, Black Seminole. All right. That encouraged so much black power in my heart, and black love in my heart, and black pride in my heart. Thank you so much. All right. Peace, love, and light, and black power. Brother Minister is coming back to chat with you all. So y'all have a great night.
Brothers and sisters, I know that you enjoyed that. I always enjoy hearing it. And so much power and love and so much moral excellence, so much direction in the sisters' teaching. And we're thankful for it. Brothers and sisters, if we can't learn from one another, who can we learn from? Who can we learn from? We don't learn from one another. And God is calling us, all of us, to be teaching one another. Excuse me, brothers and sisters, but to be rising up in our minds and rising up in our mission and our ministries. And that ministry, I want to explain the word ministry to you. It doesn't have to be from some church or from some temple. It could be anywhere. Come on in with us, sister. Come on, sit down with us and just join us. Yeah, it don't have to be within the ministry, in the European sense of ministry, but the mere fact that you're going and encouraging somebody and giving them what God has given to you is you doing the will of God. And we have to, what it said, watch as well as pray, because we got things going on all around us. Brothers and sisters, it is time to talk about this suspicious death of our sister Malikah Shabazz, the daughter of Minister Malcolm X, and the timing of that death. Now, you know, I told you that Minister Farrakhan, I said, Minister Farrakhan is not somebody who is forgiven. Isn't that right? He's not somebody that is forgiven. We have to discuss this. The death of our sister. We got to discuss this. Because brothers and sisters, if we don't discuss it, then we're missing out. Isn't that right? We're missing out on a real, how can I put it? A real move and evolution in our understanding of how the enemy does. And what does the enemy come to do? We talked about it before. He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And we have to discuss this thing about our sister, our beautiful sister who is just powerful. Her whole life is powerful. Where she is coming from aesthetically is powerful, and Afrocentrically is powerful. Here is a soldier, brothers and sisters, out of all Malcolm's daughters, and they are tough. They are tough. All of the daughters are tough, from Adela Shabazz to Ilyasha Shabazz to Malikah Shabazz and Malikah Shabazz, who were twins, right? These daughters are tough. We have Quabila Shabazz, powerful, bold black sisters, powerful and bold. But we have to talk about the death and the timing of the death. Got to be discussed. Because all of this is connected. We know, and we want to connect the dots. We want to connect the dots with the death of the most honorable Sister Betty Shabazz. We want to connect the dots. Not only that, but we're going to talk about the suspicious death of Sister Coretta Scott King. We're about to connect the dots. We have to connect the dots, brothers and sisters. If we don't connect the dots now, it's going to be too late in the future. I've told you that we're at war. I told you we was at war. I've been telling you the entire time that we're at war. And we have to first point out the coons. When I start talking about Minister Farrakhan, I couldn't just throw this in your face. I had to build up a premise. I had to build up a foundation of truth. A foundation. And I told you before, I tell you again, that Minister Farrakhan was put in for Malcolm to intercept. Another person that Minister Malcolm talked against was Dick Gregory. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that. I'm not supposed to say that, my brothers and sisters, because y'all call Dick Gregory Baba Dick Gregory. But don't you know that Minister Malcolm never trusted Dick Gregory? He never trusted the evolutions or revolutions of Dick Gregory. He never trusted him. Why is that? There was more that Minister Malcolm knew about Dick Gregory that you didn't know about. As a matter of fact, Dick Gregory was supposed to visit Minister Malcolm. Supposed to be there to speak at the Audubon Ballroom. Isn't that right? For all of you that have done the research, he was supposed to be there. Gregory even mentions it out of his own mouth. And every time you talk to him, he be talking this all the while crazy stuff before he died. He be talking about some crazy stuff. He'd go like in a whole different direction. Talking about some foolish stuff. He couldn't even stay on subject. He came up with this Bohemian health food that was supposed to make him a millionaire. Always be suspicious about these black people that are all of a sudden hit this big money market boom with no real explanation of how they got there. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, that we have plants and we have agents hiding among us in plain sight. Plain sight. And these are most of the time, 99.9% of the times, with 0.001% or 0.1% of those individuals may be making it, but 99.9% of the time will find that these individuals were set in place by the man to mislead you and I, to keep the wool over our eye, right? To keep us hoodwinked. Isn't that right? Bamboozled, run astray, run amok, tucked and tied and told, drugged, right? And hung. That's what the enemy desires for you and I. And brothers and sisters, I have to tell you, if I don't tell you again, that this suspicious death and the timing of it and the mockery of the death should be enough for you and I to open our eyes. Let's talk about our sister. Let's get some understanding. We have to get some understanding of our sister before we even talk about her. It's important for us to get some understanding because not many people know who Malikah Shabazz is. You say that name, and it's a shame. We study everything else, but we don't even know who our angels are in the revolution. We don't even know who they are. Let's talk about it. We're about to talk about our sister Malikah Shabazz and why she is so important. We're going to talk about her. We're going to talk about her twin. And we're going to talk about why she is so important in this movement of nationalism. We have to talk about it. We can't talk about her without talking about our parents. We know who the parents are, right? Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? We know who the parents are, right? Is anybody at this late date that don't know who Sister Betty Shabazz is and Minister Malcolm X is? If you don't know who that is in this late date, then I'm sorry for you. But brothers and sisters, we should know who the sister is. in this late day. We should know who she is. We should understand her. We should know certain facts about who she is to tell us why we say this is suspicious. Isn't that right? There are things that we should know. So first of all, this sister who, if had she been alive today, she would have been 4 years of age. She fought as an American international human rights activist. American international human rights activist. This is very important, what I'm about to tell you. In media face and entrepreneur, she worked in New York City, which is Manhattan, New York. Spent most of her time there in Manhattan, New York. That's important to know. These are key points. All of these are key points, which is right across the bridge from New Jersey. Keep that in mind. These are key points. She is famous in the country as whose daughter? The daughter of Minister Malcolm and Sister Betty X. Shabazz. Right? Who was Minister Malcolm? Malcolm X was an African-American minister and Muslim leader and a human rights activist. That's what he was. And I like to say black Muslim because there's a big difference. When you say the path of a black Muslim, whether you're talking about international Islam or you're talking about from the Nation of Islam, you're still a black Muslim. And being a black Muslim holds a certain track for you and I. Isn't that right? So while Minister Malcolm is known as a strong figure for human rights, it's important for us to know that the children, brothers and sisters, very important for us to know that the children are invested in this, and they're in many instances are thrust into this lifestyle. That's important for us to know. Now, we're gonna do a quick synopsis of the events that leads up to the death of Minister Malcolm, why he was killed. Isn't that right? Death of Minister Malcolm, why he was killed, and after that, his daughters facing the killers. His daughters faced the killers. His daughter was, the daughters were privy to one of the killers, Minister Louis Farrakhan, who pretended to be a loyal assistant of Minister Malcolm X, the very one who wanted the power and prestige that Minister Malcolm had, so much so that he carried the jealousy even today. We saw him even after the minister had been killed, still talking him down, never embracing the family, right? Isn't that right? Professing his love for even the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, which he has deviated from that teaching. So we see someone, and the CIA always pick individuals who what? What individuals do they pick? Individuals who like to be uplifted, individuals who have a name. If you look at every agent, if you look, including Gordon Parks, the one that helped create the Shaft movie. That's right. Who helped create Shaft, who had a hand in creating Superfly, had a hand in it. Who had a hand in it. And I want you to understand this. He creates the Shaft sequels. Gordon Parks was a photographer who knew nothing about directing a movie. He knew nothing about it. But he was the point man to give the pictures and to understand the lifestyle of Minister Malcolm and his conviction. And he went back and fed this same information to the FBI and CIA, who are responsible for organizing the hit on Malcolm, along with black Muslim ministers who were agents of the federal government who were working to perform the assassination on Malcolm with success, and also to destroy the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad as related to him by Master Fard Muhammad. This is the truth. And so this jealousy and envy that had been created, brothers and sisters, this jealousy and envy had driven brothers who would have otherwise had no possibility of having a claim to fame to kill, isn't that right, the worker, the true worker in the vineyard of the Nation of Islam, mine and your minister, Minister Malcolm X. And we have to know this. This is very important. And just like when Cain was killed by, when Abel was killed by Cain, and the blood of Abel cried out of the ground, today, just like in the past, the blood of Malcolm still cries between you and I and others who are not satisfied, brothers and sisters, with the actions and acts of Louis Farrakhan and his distaste and our distaste for him in the evil that he has performed throughout the years and disrespecting the family of Minister Malcolm X. This is very important. We have to understand it. And I have to go through this, and I ask that you be patient with me. And those that are not able to be here, I understand that you're going to rewind this. But we have to explain, right, what's going on in the foundation so that you will know that here is a man, Minister Farrakhan, who is literally obsessed with the fame of Minister Malcolm, that he's willing to do anything to claim that fame and to claim the position that Minister Malcolm was in. Isn't that right? And so this anger he carries throughout him, with him throughout the years. He is not a forgiving man. If you listen to Lance Shabazz, they'll tell you that Minister Farrakhan is very vindictive. He's not a forgiving man. Anything that is done against him, whether it be a lie or truth, he is vindictive in wanting to pay back or to vindicate himself against the person he feels or he's been lied to or he helped lie had committed the act. Now, you know about the death of Minister Malcolm. You know that Farrakhan helped plan that. We know that he should have been in Boston, that he was in Newark, New Jersey, right? And at that temple, he helped organize the assassination of Minister Malcolm X. He leaves from there and he goes over to Temple number 7 in New York, and the dry run was done with the brothers that were there. Minister Farrakhan's brother lived down the street from Minister Malcolm, who was also attending the New York and Newark Mosque. I want you to understand that. He lived in New York, but he was attending the Newark Mosque and the New York Mosque. And it's not strange that he would attend the New York Mosque, but it's strange that he would attend the Newark Mosque. But Farrakhan and his brother had attended the meeting, right, where the brothers would organize the dry run on Minister Malcolm X. I say again, too, that all the brothers that were convicted in the killing are guilty. I don't want you to concentrate on anything that you're saying. I know that the feds had the brother Talmadge Hare to tell you that the other brothers were innocent. Brother, they weren't innocent. They weren't innocent. There's no way. And you have to listen to Sister Betty when she said that it was a badge of honor for a Muslim to kill Minister Malcolm, was a badge of honor. So there were many Muslims that were talking about this. Many Muslims that were talking about taking the life of Minister Malcolm, except a few Muslims who left and came to protect him. But don't you find it strange, brothers and sisters? Don't you find it strange that if there were Muslims that said they supported Minister Malcolm, that these Muslims were at home, how the security was broken? Isn't that right? How the security was broken? We know there was a CIA agent in there, right? Because they talk about him, Roberts, right? We know that Roberts was a CIA agent. We already know that. But there were other black Muslims that were sitting and waiting and helping to plan the killing of Minister Malcolm, literally telling them where Minister Malcolm would be and all of that. They were accessories and they were complicit in the murder of Minister Malcolm. Now, there was somebody else who was never caught. We don't talk about him because until we get to Dr. Khalid Muhammad. But James Best, a known murderer and another killer that was involved in the assassination of Minister Malcolm X, who has yet to pay for the crime that he's committed. And this same James Best killed his own brother. His own blood brother, he killed him for serving and supporting Minister Malcolm and also the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You have to know this, that James Best was a zealot for Minister Louis Farrakhan, and he is one of the ones that Farrakhan actually turned and paid attention to, but turned him. One of the, because you have two agents, or rather you have three agents. Let me explain that. You have one agent that's sent by the federal government. You have another agent that is turned, that was within the nation, that is turned by the federal government. And then you have a loyalist. And loyalists are people who will do anything for agents that are turned by the federal government or agents that came in from the federal government. And James Best was the loyalist. He was a third agent and extremist that would do anything for Minister Louis Farrakhan that had been changed while he was in the Nation of Islam, right? As a loyalist for Minister Farrakhan when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was still alive and Minister Malcolm X was still alive. These were the people that were called the pressure on Minister Malcolm. And they flew him in from the West Coast to the East Coast to do these deeds. So it's important for you to know this, brothers and sisters, because this truth shall set you free. Now, Minister Malcolm, which goes to the point where he's assassinated. All right? All right, so we know the date he was assassinated, February 21st, 1965. If you'll look, I believe it was February the 12th to February the 13th, 1965, that Minister Malcolm's home had been bombed. His home had been bombed. He was really left even without clothing to wear. This is something that he talks about. After he had these two dates, talks about having saving everything that he could save. And at that point, he was still going around doing speeches and to earn income for his family. And they had found a house that they were going to buy in another area. So this is very important to know. So the clothes had been singed. The smell of smoke was inside of the clothing. So, and this is important to know because within that fire, they would have killed Minister Malcolm, would have killed his children, would have killed Sister Betty. Now, I want you to understand something when I say this. The Muslim may have pulled the trigger, but the firebomb was organized by the federal government. You don't hear me. I say again. The Muslims may have pulled the trigger, but the fire was organized by the federal government. How to know the fingerprint of fire? If you go back to Minister Malcolm's youth, when his father was a Garveyite, another powerful player in the Black Liberation Movement, you'll find out that their houses were what? Firebombed? Isn't that right? That the houses were firebombed and was even burned again. The one Omaha, Nebraska was burned. Then it was burned in Lansing, Michigan. Isn't that right? His father built a house there to operate a land source, be able to plant produce, be able to feed his family, right? So they could be totally independent of the white man's feeding system, the white man's welfare system, and what have you. And when, as he stood up as a strong leader, you always got some old buck-toothed black person. Isn't that right? Old Slewfoot is going back and telling the man everything that you've done. You'll have it from a start to finish. You'll have it. There are people right now going to tell the federal government and the police department about this meeting that we're having. Right now. Here I am telling you the truth about history. And because the man don't want you to know the truth, then there's somebody right now trying to figure out how they can stop me. Right? They already tried to stop us by interrupting our program just a few days ago. Before that, they had arrested two of the programs that we did that were very successful. So, and that reason is because we've got to control something of our own. We've got to control our own YouTube types. We got to control that. We got to control our own radio types. We got to control that. We got to control these things. And that's the lesson that Muhammad was teaching, the lesson that Minister Malcolm was teaching, that we need to do something for ourselves, and we need to back that up with some protection for ourselves and for the things that we create. And so this James Best, brother, is popped again in history. Same James Best that attacked Minister Khaled 1994 in California. Same James Best. Now, so Minister Malcolm's family was in danger. He's killed right in front of his family. And who knows what's discussed? Who knows what is discussed, brothers and sisters? For all we know, Sister Betty should have been killed at that time period, and her children too. These are facts. Don't say what they won't do. Don't say what the white devil won't do while he's killing you today. And he's supposed to be more, how do we put it? More civilized today than it was in the past. I'm sure you would agree, brothers and sisters. So we have to deal with this issue. We got to deal with it. So I want you to look. So Sister Betty, after this, they're organized with Sister Ozzie Davis and his wife, Sister Ruby D, right? And they are blessed with the assistance of Dr. King and his wife. And then after the death of Dr. King, another issue that we're going to talk about, then they're blessed with Sister Coretta Scott King, who continued to support and build up support for our sister Betty X. Shabazz. And our sisters are growing up. They're growing up. Their mother, Sister Betty, is working hard as a teacher. Then she gets a doctorate degree. So does and her and Sister Coretta Scott King work together. They're working together. They're building one another up. They're making these speeches, and they unite. Now, brothers and sisters, I want you to know that the fact that these two sisters came together was strict concern of the federal government. You don't hear me. Just like it was dangerous for their husband to get together, and then dangerous for Minister Martin Luther King Jr. to get together with the messenger, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it created problems, right? Somebody had to die, right? Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Somebody had to go. So these problems began to keep growing and developing. And amid these problems, children that are heirs to the civil rights and human rights legacy began to get stronger and stronger, began to understand history, and it began to literally rock this nation to the core. Literally rock the nation to the core. And so something had to be done about that. So you move to Dr. Khalid Muhammad having a relationship with this family, having a relationship with the King and the X family. He was friends with the King and the Shabazz. He's talking with them. He's getting understanding. I want you to understand this. He's getting understanding in the late 70s, early 80s. He's getting a strong understanding. In 85, President Reagan passed the King holiday. Is that right? Right or wrong? Sister Coretta King is growing in knowledge and has embraced the Black liberation struggle, isn't that right? For Black people, especially Black women. And Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that no nation can rise any higher than its woman. Isn't that right? So we know that. So you see, Sister Betty Shabazz and Sister Coretta Scott King rising in this power, raising their children in this power. So they began to get afraid again. And they embraced Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Once they embraced Dr. Khalid Muhammad, and Dr. Khalid Muhammad began to befriend Reverend Albert B. Cleve, who is the same man that warned Minister Malcolm X about Louis Farrakhan, the same brother had befriended Dr. Khalid Muhammad and warned him about the same Louis Farrakhan. This is a fact, brothers and sisters. I know it because I was there. Now, as we know, the government has a very dark history, brothers and sisters. If you don't know that, you should know it. The government, this government that you and I, the government that you and I are victims of. That's what we are. That's what we are, because we're not African American, we're African. We were brought over here as slaves under this oppression, so we're victims of this government. We're not free. We're victims of freedom. We are victims of the white man's freedom. We made him free when he made us slaves. We made him money when he gave us nothing. We're victims of this freedom. So I want you to understand, this is very, very, very important, that when the killing happened, that the government did, this dark dark humor they have in the killing. I want you to understand something, and I want you to search this too. Because, see, we're in school. Every time we talk, you and I together, we're in school. We're learning from one another. Brothers and sisters, I want you to look at this. Minister Malcolm X was killed when? February of 1965. February 21st, 1965. Isn't that right? The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was killed, I believe, February the 23rd, 1975. They were supposed to kill Huey in 1989, February the 22nd of 1989. They ended up killing him in August of 1989. Okay? And at that time, they had an agent named Aaron Michaels or Aaron McCarthy who was supposed to successfully resurrected the new Black Panther Party. And we're going to get on that. Because all of that plays into this nationalism. All of that plays into the death of our sister. Then, Reverend Albert Cleage, who warned Dr. Khalid about Minister Farrakhan, he dies. When does he die? February of 2000. He dies. February of 2000. All right? I want you to check this. Albert B. Cleage. That's Cleage. C-L-E-A-G-E. Albert B. Cleage. Now, when he warned Dr. Khalid Muhammad in 1999, and he embraced him, where he allies with him, he becomes an ally in the Black liberation struggle here in America under Dr. Khalid's leadership. The white man started to take in the Washington City paper, moved Malik Zulu Shabazz as an heir apparent of Dr. Khalid Muhammad at one of Dr. Khalid's function. This devil came, Mark Francis Cohen, the white Jew over the Washington City paper. All you have to do is pull it up. This devil, who's a friend of Malik Zulu Shabazz, another agent that was sent in the movement at Howard University. This devil puts Malik in as the heir apparent of Dr. Khalid Muhammad, and we all knew what was going on. So after that, February the 18th, February the 18th, 2001, Dr. Khalid Muhammad is taken from us. He's poisoned, brothers and sisters, by Malik Zulu Shabazz and Hashim Mzinga and a visiting she-demon named Nefertiri, who came out of T.D. Jakes' church. They waited 8 to 10 hours before they would even call an ambulance for our brother. 8 to 10 hours before they would even call an ambulance for our brother. So what I'm telling you is that this nation we're in has a dark humor, brothers and sisters, a dark humor on the death of Black nationalists. And I want you to know, this is something that you should know, brothers and sisters, and I want you to know. Shame on me if I don't tell you. And so I want you to understand that Minister Khalid, even when he shot in 1994, had arranged, for some reason, he even told myself about it, and he told Steve Coakley about it. He told us there should be strict security around Sister Coretta Scott King, and most importantly, Sister Betty X. Shabazz. He told us that. And we kept security around her, brothers and sisters. We kept security. Now, I want you to know that Sister Betty X. Shabazz was one of the most powerful, determined women that I'd ever seen in my life, brothers and sisters. One of the most. And she had no problem in pulling out certain questions as it related to Minister Louis Farrakhan. She had no problem doing it. Who knows and how much information was released from her to Dr. Khalid Muhammad, because, brothers and sisters, he wanted security around her day and night. Telling you what I know. And he went to every length to make sure that was done. And he rode me hard to make sure that we had no less than 12 soldiers around in any area that she may be in to give protection, including her residence, to be somewhere close, to make sure that from the shadows and many times in person that we were able to give her the protection that she needed and her daughters. Now, brothers and sisters, listen to this. I want you to know that Farrakhan has never been under any real danger. Never. When Dr. Khalid Muhammad is forced out of the nation, because that's what it was, he forced him out. Same Farrakhan that helped John Ali and Wallace Wareddin Muhammad force Minister Malcolm out without, first of all, the knowledge of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was being poisoned with cortisone, and Farrakhan admits this, so he can't go back lying. They did the same thing to Dr. Khalid. They forced Dr. Khalid out. When they forced him out, there was contention built up in this guy, James Best, that I was telling you about. James Best, in his anger to Dr. Khalid, tried to fight his way to come on the stage to see Dr. Khalid at one point. And then after that, right, there were several other occasions where he tried to be confrontational with Dr. Khalid. Dr. Khalid hadn't did anything to him. And then after that, he's given some money. Brothers and sisters, I hope you hear me. He's given some money to buy these expensive weapons. There are 7 points behind the brush that were made to kill Dr. Khalid. Then some of the brothers that were around Dr. Khalid, same way it was during the time of Minister Malcolm, had arranged part of the assault by changing the direction of Dr. Khalid. And these things Dr. Khalid found out much later, at least about 3 weeks before his death. Because he told me and he told others that you can't trust Malik Zulu Shabazz and you can't trust Hashim Mzinga. He said that out of his own mouth. Brother Coakley was there and I was there. We were his inner circle. And if you go back, Brother Coakley would tell you the very same thing in the recording that I'm telling you now. This is a fact. And he goes deeper into the knowledge. I piece it together to give you a dispensation in history of how these things come about and why. Brothers and sisters, when Dr. Khalid is shot, Minister Farrakhan does not visit him in the hospital because Dr. Khalid had been upbraiding Mr. Farrakhan, telling him that Muslims shouldn't be marrying these white she-devils. He also told Minister Farrakhan it didn't look good for you to be hanging around Father Flager, who's a white man, a white devil. Muhammad called him a white devil. I'm going to call him a white devil. And Minister, I think it's not good for you to be walking around with this devil, who's also a pedophile and a raping from an organization that supported the slave trade and were raping our young boys. This is what Dr. Khalid put out to him. After he's shot because of this, making this revelation, Dr. Khalid's in the hospital. Minister Farrakhan doesn't visit him one time. This is a fact. He won't even come and visit our brother. So Dr. Khalid is shot. They said he got shot in his foot. He was shot all up the right side of his body. He had been shot. The right side of his body, had a few in the left, and then had some shots in his foot. Minister Farrakhan would not visit him at all. Steve Coakley gets angry about it and talks to him about it. This is the first assassination attempt that we know of. Now, there were some other confrontations, but this is the first actual assassination attempt. Now, brothers and sisters, I have you to know that Dr. Khalid is visiting Sister Betty Shabazz often around this time. Oh, he's dirty, brother. Black Seminole Farrakhan is dirtier than people really know. A fake and a phony, a fraud and a criminal and a murderer. Dirtier than anybody would ever know. And when Dr. Khalid began to visit Sister Betty Shabazz in 1995, he's invited to Abyssinia Church. He's invited. Where Adam Clayton Powell used to pastor. Senator Adam Clayton Powell used to pastor Abyssinia Church. Dr. Khalid is there along with 600 other Muslims. This is a fact. This is a fact. Farrakhan told Dr. Khalid, we will kill you for this, right from the pulpit. Right from the pulpit. And Dr. Khalid said, I understand the death of Minister Malcolm more today than I've ever stood it before in my life, because it parallels what is happening to me. Brothers and sisters, you better hear me. And then he says in the same breath, but I hope and pray that Farrakhan is trying to be political and nothing else. The threat went out. All the Muslims heard it. I heard it. All the Muslims heard it. When the threat went out, the Muslims asked Dr. Khalid if they'll be honest. Many of the Muslims that have left Farrakhan because they've gotten on to his kind. They've left Farrakhan because they've gotten on to his kind. They understand it. They asked Dr. Khalid, did you hear that, brother? Like the minister was talking to you. Dr. Khalid said, I heard it. I heard what he said, brothers and sisters. I heard it. We leave from there. A lot of questions. We in with Steve. We're talking about it. We're trying to get some understanding of what to do next. Dr. Khalid continued to work at that point on the million youth mark. Now, here's where it gets sticky. Dr. Khalid is still keeping in contact with Sister Betty Shabazz and the family. On many levels, he's keeping in contact. He's studying and reviewing the death of Minister Malcolm. He began to get the tapes and the books, and he's studying. He's pouring over. He's studying the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He's got me studying. I'm studying, pouring in overtime, and writing this type of history research so that he could read and study it. And he wanted me to do several of those and really dig deep to start to organize an algorithm and a formula for assassination. And this is what I began to do. And the same thing I began to be trained for coming in is the same thing that I began to do at a heightened rate. And I began to discover that formula and that algorithm that Minister Farrakhan was using. He never changed it. He never changed it. Brothers and sisters, he befriended Malik Zulu Shabazz, somebody that he supposedly hated, somebody he supposedly repudiated. He pulls him in. Next thing you know, this trouble begins to happen, and a news station began to talk about the rise of Malik Zulu Shabazz and how he is the apparent errant of Dr. Khalid Muhammad around the same time. This is between 95 and 97. You see two things that happen because Dr. Khalid is keeping in contact with Sister Malikah Shabazz, Sister Betty X on occasions, and he's keeping in contact at some point with young Malcolm Shabazz. You begin to see a lot of stuff unfold. First, you see that Malikah is blamed for putting out a hit on Minister Farrakhan. I say again, brothers and sisters, Farrakhan is not under any real danger. He has a son, right, at that time that's trained with the Harvard police force. His son, Mustafa Shabazz, Mustafa Farrakhan, is a sellout with the Harvard police force. He's hanging around these people. Also, there were Muslims that were on the Harvard police force. You don't hear me, brothers and sisters. With the enemy. That are with the enemy. And then you got the fruit of Islam around you. Now, how much protection do you need? But one woman that's coming against you? Not only that, the federal government, to add insult to injury, is going to penalize the sister and put her in prison, trying to demonize her and put her in prison on a lie that a white boy was supposed to have been told by her that she wanted to put a hit out on Minister Farrakhan. I want you to think about this very carefully. Think about it very, very, very carefully, brothers and sisters. It's likely, but not possible. And so charges are filed on her, right? By hearing this knowledge. And Farrakhan, right? Because if you file charges, that means the individual has to know something about it, right? Farrakhan acts like he's coming to a rescue. This is in 1995 at the Apollo in New York. And they supposedly raised over $250,000 for an attorney for the sister, when Farrakhan, all he had to do was drop the charges. But this is to be seen, brothers and sisters, and to win brothers and sisters over to feel like a big person. So he exploits the life of Minister Malcolm's daughter, who was having problems, isn't that right? Adjusting to the death of her father. They saw their father killed. She never met her father. She never met her father. Her mother was still pregnant with her and her twin sister. So she's going through these changes. After this Muslim had her father killed, had her spurned out in the world, and he uses it as an opportunity to win more people. Isn't that right? Because brothers had begun to see him for what he was. And so many had left the Muslim movement under Farrakhan. Brothers and sisters, what happens next? They raise this money, right? The lawyer supposedly get the charges dropped. When Farrakhan could have just dropped the charges on his own. There was no need to do it in front of the people. He could have went behind the scene and had all this stuff dropped. Shouldn't have been no charges filed, right? No harm, no foul. Charges could have been dropped. But he had to do this in front of, he loves attention. I told you about an agent. I'm telling you, the agent loves attention. So he loves that camera. I haven't seen one agent that don't love the camera. Proof of which you always see them parading, right? What do you see Babu Omawale doing? Parading in front of the people. Malik Zulu Shabazz, parading in front of the people. Isn't that right? Crystal Muhammad, parading in front of the people. What is the guy? Grandmaster Jay? What is he doing? What is he doing? He parades in front of the people. Isn't that right? The NFAC, they parade in front of the people. They're not doing anything but parading in front of the people. Besides, what real revolutionary is going to make an evolution in broad daylight in front of the enemy so that they can see him and also reveal the identity of all of their people? Who does this? Who does this other than agents? You understand what I'm saying? So we see the operation of agents and how they move. Farrakhan is no different. Much more polished, but he's no different. If you look at Al Sharpton, here's a man that was nothing more than a joke in black nationalism, but because they could use him, because he liked the attention, because he would show up anywhere, even when he didn't have money in his pocket, they stuffed money in his pocket and gave him a show. And you see him, he's never studied journalism or anything like that. Straight off the street, a regular street pimp preaching religion that they put into place because they could use him. Right? And people would follow him. They gave him National Action Network. Right? Agent. He looks out of place, he normally is. If it's too good to be true, it normally is. Right? If it's a get-rich scheme, then ain't nothing to it. Isn't that right? A pyramid scheme. And all of them are climbing, trying to get to the top. So Khaled, it wasn't setting right with the federal government nor Farrakhan that's supposed to have been able to handle Khaled, to see Dr. Khaled keeping in contact with the wife and the children and the following of Minister Malcolm X. So when that happens in 1995 to the sister, then a lot of people like Farrakhan's all right. This is supposed to make you love Farrakhan. This is supposed to make you love him. But everybody's not convinced. Isn't that right? And we have Dr. Khaled around us. He's the second Malcolm X that we got that really care about the people. So people start talking more about Dr. Khalid Muhammad and less about Minister Farrakhan. What happens? In 1996, a merger is being made, right, with the family of Minister Malcolm X and the X movement, and Dr. Khalid Muhammad is much responsible for this evolution, right? People start wearing Malcolm X paraphernalia. Malik Muhammad is pushing Malcolm X. He's pushing understanding Malcolm X. He's pushing this universal men's movement under Minister Malcolm and this black nationalist liberation movement, right, under Minister Malcolm and pushing up Minister Malcolm's wife, the most honorable sister, Betty Shabazz, right? Was said Minister Malcolm's sisters. Not only that, but this same wind puts spotlight on Minister Malcolm's grandson, and it builds him up. The federal government doesn't want to see this. They don't want to see it. So you know what they do, brothers and sisters? You see, in 1997, where the son of Corbelia Shabazz, the second eldest daughter of Minister Malcolm, that witnessed him being killed, along with Sister Adela Shabazz, and along with Sister Ilyasa Shabazz, they saw their father killed, along with their mother. Worried if these killers was going to kill them too. What happened to the mother of these beautiful sisters, the wife of Minister Malcolm X? They come in, the federal government, their fingerprint is the fire, remember? They start a fire. There's a fire in the apartment, right? Now, brothers and sisters, I ask you this. How long would it take a fire to burn a home? How long would it take it to burn a home? Then we had young Malcolm Shabazz, the son of Sister Corbelia Shabazz, who said he never remembered starting the fire. He's a young kid by the age of 12 or 13, rather a young child, by the age of 13 or 14 years old, 12 or 13 years old. He still declared, I never started the fire. I don't remember starting this fire. I can't admit to starting that fire because I didn't do it. They blamed him for it. What happened? Sister Betty Shabazz saved her grandson, but she's burned, right? Over 30% of her body is burned with third-degree burn. She lived in the hospital, I believe, about 3 weeks, and then she passed. Nobody could get in to see her or anything like that. Khaled, at this point, is on a warpath. He's angry with his people. He's angry with many others that are around. Why didn't our sister have the protection that she needed? He's on the warpath, and we're trying to. He's on the move now. His intensity has grown, and he's very hurt that our sister is dead, that she's burned by this fire. He's very, very hurt that she's burned by this fire. And he began to talk about the fingerprint of the white man, how the government has a fingerprint of fire, and how they've often used fire along with the Ku Klux Klan, along the Aryan, along with white nationalists that talk about setting up Molotov cocktails. And brother, you have to admit that only the white man used fire if he's going to do something to us. Brothers and sisters will either get a gun or a knife. That's common to us. We're not going to think about a fire. We're thinking about a gun, a knife, or some way we even have somebody else to get them. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? But last thing we're thinking about is a fire. So when she's killed in the fire, then Dr. Khaled began to research it. He's looking back at Farrakhan, looking at the death of Minister Malcolm. He begins to question, even began to question Muslims. Walk with me, brothers and sisters. It's that serious. It's that serious. And so in all of these questions, Dr. Khaled at this point began to understand what Reverend Cleage was telling him, that Malcolm X's family is in danger. If he was in danger, Minister Malcolm's family is certainly in danger, because they're the single people that can ignite a global movement, a global black culture movement around this planet. They had paid the price. Who was the center of that movement? Sister Betty X. Shabazz. Who was igniting the movement under her? Dr. Khalid Muhammad, to make people pay respects to Minister Malcolm for the sacrifices he made for the black community, and said it was long overdue, brothers and sisters. This is a fact. I tell you that because I was there. I had to help set it up. I was there. Then, brothers and sisters, what happened? Brings us to our sister. A threat. Sister Malikah was a threat. All of Minister Malcolm's daughters are a threat. That's why I tell you that if we find out where they're going, we try to keep soldiers close. And we have to study to find out, because that family knows that from this government, you really can't trust anybody. Isn't that right? And we have to be ready, brothers and sisters, willing and waiting. Now, Malikah, according to media sources, they don't say who. They don't say who, right? She's found dead in her home, November the 22nd, 2021. Why is it pointed out, brothers and sisters? Why do we point this out? Because it was 56 years ago, February the 21st, 1965, 56 years ago to this date, with a few months, that her father was killed. She was in the belly of her mom, and her father was killed. Understand this. I need you to understand. You have to understand that Sister Betty X. Shabazz is teaching them this wisdom and telling them the truth about Minister Farrakhan. And this sister had become so powerful in her international glory that she became a person of concern. Not only her, but young Malcolm Shabazz too. Young Malcolm Shabazz too. She was born September the 30th of 1965. Minister Malcolm was killed February the 21st, 1965. So she didn't even get a chance to see her father. Didn't even get a chance to see him. And as a result of that, right, and you see the papers carried where Sister Betty X. Shabazz had a childhood photo of Malikah, right, and her sister Malik in her arms, right? You see, that's a famous photo, very famous photo. This sister was the sister that was accused of making the plot on Minister Louis Farrakhan. Accused. The sister still said she hated Farrakhan. She didn't trust Farrakhan, and it was nothing that he could do for her that would make her trust him. If she felt that way, how much more did our sister Betty X. Shabazz feel, and how much more did Dr. Khalid Muhammad feel that way about Minister Farrakhan before he was assassinated? How much more did Reverend Albert Cleve feel that way about Minister Farrakhan before he was assassinated? Because they knew exactly what they were dealing with. They knew what they were dealing with. Here Farrakhan was responsible for our 39-year-old sister, Sister Betty X. Shabazz. She was 39 when they had her husband taken away from her, when they killed him in front of her. 39 years old, brothers and sisters. 39 years old, left with 3 children, right? 3 small children, and pregnant with 2 twins to be born without their father that Farrakhan took away. And you have dumb, foolish idiots that are ready to forgive. Understand me when I tell you, that are ready to forgive the man that killed, who says he loved black people, who killed a brother, a prominent brother in the nationalist movement. Not only did he kill him, he never once embraced the daughters of Minister Malcolm, nor became dutiful to his wife. It wasn't him that raised money for our sister when her husband had been taken away from her. So here we see that Farrakhan still sent no real condolence. Farrakhan has still not comforted the daughters or anything like that. It tells you what kind of demon and beast you have leading you, brothers and sisters that are following him in this movement. And brothers and sisters that are not in the Muslim movement, how you're following this demon in the movement right, of taking us back 25 to 50 years back into oppression, because he's not speaking black liberation theology. He's not speaking black liberation, freedom, justice, and equality. He's not teaching Islam. He's teaching Farrakhan. So she leaves behind her brothers and sisters, Malikah, Gamaliel, Eliasha, Adela, and Quabila. She leaves those 5 behind. She leaves them behind. She had lost her mother. She had lost her father. Those things were taken away from her. Taken away from her, brothers and sisters. Not only that, her nephew, young Malcolm Shabazz, was taken away for her May the 9th, 2013, in Mexico at the age of 28 years of age. These same Mexicans are coming over into the Nation of Islam over black brothers and sisters. And I want you to see this. And Farrakhan has a relationship with the president of Mexico, where he's bringing in Mexicans over black people, putting brothers out of jobs in his so-called Nation of Islam, and putting these Mexicans, white Mexicans, over black people. I tell you, Farrakhan doesn't teach nationalism. Not only that, but brothers and sisters, when our sister is killed, it's right after the men that killed Minister Malcolm are let out of prison, and Farrakhan praised Malcolm's killers, and he praised the release of Malcolm killers. And brothers and sisters, all of those that were put in prison for the death of Minister Malcolm were guilty. I want you to understand that. So brothers and sisters, we have to be steadfast. We got to stay open. We got to stay alert. We got to, as Jesus told us, to watch as well as pray, because we have agents hiding among us in plain sight, and Farrakhan is the chief agent hiding among you and I in plain sight. And it don't be it for us to close our eyes, because what they did to a green tree, brothers and sisters, they'll do to a live one. You don't hear me. I said what they do to a green tree, they'll do to a live one. And it's too late in the day, too late in the game for you and I to be blind, deaf, and dumb, and not to see what's going on around us. Brothers and sisters, that's why I tell you to arm yourself. That's why I tell you to keep your eyes open, because only a fraud, a fake, and a phony will tell our people to be peaceful when the devil is standing before you as a roaring lion, seeking who he can devour. Only a fake, a fraud, and a phony will tell our people to be peaceful when these crackers are right before us, killing us, right? Dirty, mangy, stinking, poor, trashy crackers are out killing us, and their evil, dirty, stinking, mangy brothers in blue uniform are killing us. No, brothers and sisters, I tell you to arm yourself and get ready. The race war is already on. You just haven't participated. We're already in a race war. You just haven't taken an active part in it. And we've got to take the pledge now to defend our community, to defend our homes, to defend our churches, to defend our temples, to defend our grocery stores, to defend the black community at large, and to let these beasts know when they come in, they won't check out. It'll be like the Roach Motel. You'll check in, you can't check out. That's right, sister. The God has said God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. God has given us the power, right, of love. He hasn't given us the spirit of fear, but love for our people. Love for our people. And a sound mind to stand up and do what must be done, because this devil is killing us everywhere we turn, every which way, left and right. These devils are killing us. And it's time for us now to fight back. Stop listening to Al Sharpton. who is paid and subsidized by the federal government, to keep you and I docile. Stop listening to Louis Farrakhan, who is paid by the federal government to keep us docile. The only thing that America can do, our guidance is let us know, is to give us our reparation, give us our land, give us the money for the next 25 years that we will be able to support ourselves on our own so we can build our own country, build our own nation where no white men are involved, where no white people can become a part of that nation. Give it to us today that we will be able to stand fast and stand up with the power that God has given us, brothers and sisters. And I tell you, brothers and sisters, on that day, and I know it's coming, I look forward to the day where the white man is no longer a threat. But it's not going to happen until we fight. We got to fight, brothers and sisters. We're going to have to fight in this war. We're already in the war, but we got to defend ourselves. Yes, I know that all white people aren't acting in racism. I understand that. But the only thing that I would say, if you had 1 billion bees, and in between that billion bees were 1 million bees that didn't have stingers, would you waste your time around there trying to figure out what bees don't have stingers from the ones that have stingers while they sting you to death? I think not, brothers and sisters. But you and I are wise enough. We're wise enough. Our brother Black Seminole said, I can't wait till that day. Brother, I can't wait either, because it will be the day of our salvation. And you'll find that when we stand together, unite for that common cause of self-deliverance and self-defense against the beast that is killing us, you will find out that as God as Nandu has said, our kingdom has come. The kingdom of God, God's kingdom, has come to deliver us in such a time as this. And I don't know about you, but when I hear about it and know that every day will be howdy and there'll be hello and no more goodbye, and we'll be able to sit with our brothers and sisters in peace in the garden of salvation that our God has built. Brothers and sisters, I want to thank you for your participation. Thank you for your life. Thank you for your subscribes, and don't forget to hit the bell so you'll know when we're coming on to you again, 7 o'clock tomorrow. Be ready as we run this 30-day marathon that you've encouraged, so that we'll be able to quickly get the following that we need, and after which we pray to Allah, God. You can say Jesus, you can say Jehovah, or whatever you want, that we can pray to be able to have our own station. And we look forward to being in Detroit, Michigan. We look forward to being in Detroit, Michigan very soon. And God has made a way for us to get there. We're thankful that God will work it out, and God will supply our immediate needs. We thank our brother Larry Moore for coming in and listening. Brother, we thank you very much for your contributions and what you have for us. And we thank you for supporting us. We really appreciate you, brother, for all that you do. All that you do. And we appreciate all of your donations. And we thank all brothers and sisters. Don't forget, we have books out there we really need you to purchase. We're still trying to sell those 7 books. We believe we have 3 of them sold. So we'll look forward to selling at least 4 more books to have, because it's something that we definitely need for our support. And brothers and sisters, we thank you. And we ask you to see us again tomorrow, please, brothers and sisters. And we look forward to being on another show that's going to invite us. And we're thankful for her already for inviting on that show. And I'll let you know further details of that as our brother, I'm going to call the brother my manager, as our brother Larry manages us and manages these things for us, so that we'll be able to go further and do the work. We look forward also, brothers and sisters, as we've gotten word back from the Coleman Young Center in Detroit. We look forward to visiting there and reigniting Temple number 1 there under the guidance and leadership of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that we'll be able to stand with Brother Silas Muhammad to be able to do this work, and also in the city that we're in. Brothers and sisters, thank you, and I salute you, and I say unto you, peace. Peace be unto you. Peace be unto us all. And I say unto one, I say unto all, in the Arabic tongue, Assalamu alaikum.